So I'm a little angry. So my dear boy, Sean Hamlin, has sold me a PlayStation 4 controller. No, I'm not mad at him. It's fine. I like it. My complaint is just the general controller design. This is how not to make a controller. I hate it so much. It's unreal. Everything about this controller makes me want to throw it off of a cliff. Let's start with the tiny things. Micro USB, right? I get it. This came out in 2013, 2012. I don't know, right? It came out whenever. This was what was in at the time, right? It's still a terrible port, right? Still doesn't like it. But fine, all right. Let's look past that. It's so small. This controller is made for babies. This I hold it. It fits my hands. You see how my pinkies aren't hanging off the controller? Look at this. Where are my pinkies? Even holding it like this, it's so small. I hate it. All right. Another thing. Why is the PlayStation button here? Right? Why is it here? Why? Why would the touchpad doesn't do anything. It's just a glorified menu button. Why wouldn't you just have it like the Xbox controller, where it's up here and then you have all your little stupid buttons right here and stuff? There's no point. 3/4 of your controller are taken up by a touchpad and a PS4 button and a speaker that does nothing. Why did you put a speaker in your controller? Why? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. And these triggers, oh my god, they're so terrible. Look at this. You see how the back part of my index finger is hanging off the trigger? Look at this. This is how you make a trigger on a controller. You see, I press it, my finger feels comfortable pressing it. Every single time I press this goddamn trigger, I feel like it's so small. It's so tiny. It feels like my finger is best side off. It's terrible. One thing I will give them credit for is I like the press of the thumbsticks. I think this feels a lot better than the Xboxes, because this one's more just here, listen to it. This one's a bit more clicky. So I prefer the PS4 one, but the Xbox one still isn't bad. Now my biggest complaint about this entire controller is this D-pad. Now, the Xbox D-pad, you can see, it's a little circle. It's very clicky. Listen to this. Alright, you hear how clicky that is? I press the D-pad. I know I pressed the D-pad. I can hear it. This? Which you wouldn't think it's a big deal that you can't, hear it. When playing a fighting game, like Guilty Gear Strive, hang on. I heard my mom's door open and we had to go somewhere. I thought she was coming in here to tell me we had to go. But anyways, for a fighting game where you have to where it's pretty much it's a big advantage that you use your D-pad rather than your thumbstick, your D-pad, as your movement buttons, alright? Now, the thing is, you also do, moves with your, movement button, right? It's not it's separate, you don't use, this, right? You use your, your movement, right? Every other fighting game. Trying to do quarter circle punch on this stupid little D-pad, I think, is the most insufferable thing I've ever had to do. 3/4 of the time, it's just bad. Look, right? I will go like this, right? With my thumb, obviously, not like this, but I will go like this. And for some reason, it will input this. I will go like this, just like this, and we'll input the top one. I don't know why. It's not just this controller. I know it's not, because That's that's not like, oh yeah, my controller's broken. It does this when I press this. Like, no. It's just terrible controller design. Plus, because quarter circle punch pretty much is quarters, pretty much like, it's just, or sorry, it's this, and then go over here plus square. So it's, it is so, it just doesn't work. I don't know. It's not a skill issue. It's not. I'm telling you. Half the time I try and do it, I will do it perfectly. It simply will not input. It won't. Like, it just, I will literally, be in, training mode on this game, just practicing quarter circle punch, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't. And there's a little thing in the bottom left that tells you exactly what you're doing. It's like a little circle, and it tells you, which way you're inputting, I guess. And it just doesn't, because it'll just go side down instead of, So think of it like this, right? Think of it so instead of inputting as it should, it's inputting as whatever. It's just, this controller is bad. I dislike the general design. The D-pad is terrible for fighting. Because this, right? It's just, right, a couple benefits of this. It's a circle. My finger can easily slide between each of the directions. And plus, it's elevated a bit because it's a circle. Each of, the left, right, up, down, in those directions, it's, slanted upwards a bit. Here, I'll show you. You see how at the edges of it, it's, a little slanted upwards? This, it's like this. I can easily just, I hear what I'm pressing. I hear the 3 clicks, so I know I'm doing my little quarter circle, and I punch. If any day of the week, I would use this controller. However, Guilty Gear is not available on Xbox. So, I'm stuck with the worst controller I've ever had the dishonor of holding. It's bad. It's really bad. I just hate everything about it. Also, no batteries. None. So, my rechargeable batteries I have right here, 2 feet away from me, I can't use it this thing because it's bad. Instead, I have to go through my house for a micro USB, which nothing uses anymore. Find one, plug it in, and then wait an hour for it to die in one day. This controller is insufferable. I hate everything about it. And Xbox is just so much better. I like this controller. Just listen to this. Listen to that track. And listen to this. It's just, God, that's terrible. It hurts my ears. The only thing I like about it is the thumbsticks. Which, by the way, why is it like this? Why? Why wouldn't you have it with Xbox where it's this? They're both down here. It just, I hate it. I hate it. It's probably because I'm used to Xbox. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say it's because I'm used to Xbox, but I still hate it. Because it just makes more sense. You have your, movement up here, right? With your, thumbstick or whatever, because you don't need a lot of precision for that. But then, your thumb is extended down here, so it's easier. Or, it's it's a bit more extended down here. So it just makes it easier to press the buttons. It's not a huge difference. It's this much of a difference, but there was no reason not to. It's just better. I don't, this controller, it fits in my hand. I don't feel, it doesn't feel small. It feels like it fits perfectly in my hand. And it just works. Right? This, I feel like I gotta, it's just so small. It's so dinky. All the buttons suck. There's a speaker on it for some reason. It's bad. I hate everything about this controller. On the BMX scale, this thing gets a 3. It's just, It's laughable. Like, this is how you don't make a controller. This is very specifically, like, the worst way to make a controller. And I will stand by that, because the Xbox controller is just so much better. Yeah, that's about it.